You're listening to EVS Studios. Hey, welcome, party people. How you doing? You're listening to the Eric and Reno show. At least that's what I feel like I'm doing, making a show. I'm just talking to you, talking to people I maybe haven't met yet. Hey, if I haven't met you, maybe I have met you. Why don't you send me an email? I got an email address for you, ericandreno@duck.com. That's right, duck.com, like the quack quack. Eric and Reno, ERICINRENO @DUCK.com. Anyway, reach out to me. Let me know if you like what you're hearing. Change up what you might be hearing. Make some suggestions. Suggest a song. Suggest a topic. Suggest wanting to come and share your thoughts on the air here. I got 3 microphones. We got plenty of room to do stuff like that, and hopefully we'll be doing more of it. Still getting my feet underneath me on this. I'm not a professional, but I'm having fun. Hope you're enjoying it. I like to be informative. I also like to share music. Let's get to the disclaimers. Every show's got to have a disclaimer, right? The views and opinions expressed on this show by the guest and host do not necessarily reflect the position of the broadcasting streaming service, their affiliates, or their advertisers. Or does it? Because it just might. I mean, if you're a manager of a radio station or a TV station, you hired this person to be on air, speak their opinions. You must have liked something that they said. You wouldn't put somebody on the air that you completely disagree with and thinks an absolute idiot. So you must have agreed with something. Just own it. Admit it. Hey, here's what I think about this particular subject. It's okay to have an educated opinion. It's not okay to have a dumbass opinion. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of things there that can be talked about. Anyway, I do share music on this show, and I'm learning that it's more and more difficult to do that on podcasts without actually paying some outrageous amount of money so you can play music. I have several different podcasts that I listen to, and they don't have sound effects, music, nothing like a professional production. And there's a reason for it. Well, I got a music disclaimer. The music heard on this show are the sole property of the performers and their recording labels. If you like what you hear, go to your favorite music streaming service and download it or buy it. We play it here to share with you and help them make more money. This show receives no monetary incentives yet. So, to the record label execs and lawyers, bite me. I play what I want. I'm helping you generate clicks and downloads, so maybe in the long run, you might owe me some money for that. Also, all of the music that I'm playing here, so far, every hit that I've played is over 30 years old. What's the statute of limitations? Well, I looked it up online. Apparently, it's 1928. Everything before 1928 is fair public game. Well, I don't think I'm ever going to get around to playing a song quite that old, that's for sure. Hey, those of you that know me, know I'm a huge auto racing nut. I've been a race driver fan since I can remember. I was 3 years old. My grandfather actually bought for me a Formula One push pedal car. And, well, I've been stricken with the disease ever since then. I like things that go fast. I like how difficult it is to do it well, especially at the higher levels. I enjoy the engineering. I enjoy the chemistry behind it. I enjoy the mechanical designs. I enjoy the magic some of these drivers are actually capable of doing. I'm sure you've heard this plenty of times. People who watch races or go to races, oh, you just watch it for the wrecks. No, even though those can be interesting, I find it very interesting how many of these wrecks these guys just get out of the car and walk away from. It's like, holy crap. If that was 30 years ago, that guy'd be dead or at least have 2 broken legs or something. No, I find what's amazing is when they don't crash when they probably should have, which that I find very amazing. And it all takes talent. It's a dance inside those vehicles. Doesn't matter if you like NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, your local Saturday night track. There's many, many different racing series. And there's always been some debate. Is auto racing a sport? Because a lot of people just think, oh, they're just driving around in circles. And they're just driving around in circles. Actually, the NASCAR schedule, they're doing 7 road courses this year. So, no, they go to the right as well as the left. In the other series, they do a lot of road courses. By the way, it's a spectator sport. That's why a lot of the tracks are big, giant circles so that the spectators can actually view what it is they're doing. And besides, if you don't know, and I'm speaking directly about NASCAR, but it's also true about the other ones, when they go through corners, they're literally on the edge of wiping out, sliding out. They are literally pushing that vehicle as fast as they possibly can in that turn without losing the rear end and it's snapping out from underneath them. And they do that lap after lap after lap. That is difficult to do well and to do fast. And only the greats have ever been really great at it. Anyway, enough about that. If you're a fan of NASCAR, Indy, Formula One, or any other kind of auto racing, you probably think that is a sport. But is it really? Believe it or not, there are many people that do not share the same sentiments. The argument on this one has been raging on for many years now. And, I personally believe that auto racing is a sport and can be considered a sport for a number of reasons. I was able to look up a list online that gave me 12 reasons why auto racing is a sport. The act of auto racing perfectly aligns with the definition of sport. Go to the Oxford Dictionary, defines sport as an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment. The Oxford Dictionary showed that auto racing is physically demanding on the driver, involves individuals and teams competing for the championship title, and provides international entertainment. That's a sport. Auto racing drivers lose weight when racing. This is number 2. And believe it or not, they do. The physical exertion in auto racing is unbelievable. The biggest argument presented against auto racing being a sport is that the driver simply sits in a driver's seat and controls the machine, which does all the work. Well, if you don't know much about auto racing, you might tend to agree with that. People who have never done any racing might not know just how the physical exertion is imposed on the body. In fact, due to the high heat and physical exertion resulting from G-forces, drivers are known to lose up to 3 to 10 pounds per race. Imagine, and these guys are not big like me. They don't have weight to lose. And it's water weight they're losing. And they're sitting still. But the physical exertion is that high where they will lose anywhere from 3 to 10 pounds per race. Most races, anywhere between 90 minutes to 4 hours. Obviously, the longer the race, the more weight you're going to lose. And actually, this particular weekend, NASCAR is in Phoenix, Arizona. Well, might not be really, really hot in March, but when they go back in November, it can be still in the high 80s and 90s. There are some times when drivers do succumb to heat exhaustion. The other reason why it's so hot inside those racing vehicles, all of them, doesn't matter if it's NASCAR, Formula One, IndyCar, whatever, there's no air moving through the cockpit to cool off the driver. Because if there was air moving through the cockpit, it would cause drag. Drag slows your vehicle down. They want to go as fast as they possibly can. So not a whole lot of air moving around. There are teams with cool suits, which now that takes amperage off of the electrical system. That causes you to slow down. So a lot of people, the engineers, they don't want their drivers to have them. But now we have IndyCar this year. One of the rule changes was that every driver has to have it. So it has to be incorporated to your car because these guys are going harder and harder and harder, faster and faster every year, and they're wearing themselves out. It is pretty crazy. Speak about wearing themselves out. Number 3, a racing driver's heart rate is elevated to that of a person doing exercise or playing a sport. They've actually hooked up monitors to drivers while they're racing. They're usually over 130 beats per minute just constantly and spiking up to 200 depending on what's going on in front of them. It is pretty crazy how much endurance they have to have. A sport requires physical exertion. Physical exertion happens when the heart rate is elevated due to physical exercise or physical activity. There is no way to argue that racing does not require physical exertion, as racing monitoring and tests have proven that a racing driver's heart rate is highly elevated. Yeah, we know that. I just said that. It takes stamina. Number 4, it takes stamina of the driver to withstand those G-forces. G-force can be difficult for the average person on the street to understand. When experiencing high G-force levels, a person can make a person have tunnel vision, loss of peripheral vision, pass out, loss of vision while still remaining fully conscious, nausea, and feeling dizzy or faint. Just like in a fighter jet, you've seen plenty of your favorite celebrities take a ride with the Blue Angels or something, and they'll pull up on the stick and doing a 9G frickin' climb, and most people pass out. And, of course, very, very upset stomachs, that's for sure. The acceleration of these race cars, especially like an Indy car and Formula One, quite a bit faster than NASCAR because the car's weight to horsepower ratio is quite larger than in NASCAR. Also, how much braking power they have. They also have wings that produce downforce. The vehicle itself weighs 1,700 pounds sitting by itself, but when it's doing 150 miles an hour, it's actually producing close to 8,000 pounds of pressure through the tires into the pavement, so it actually can hold itself down. You might have heard that, probably go through a round tunnel and do a complete somersault. They can. I'm not sure if anybody's tried it or not. One of the videos I saw, I think, was using a bunch of computer graphics on that one. Anyway, under braking, these guys can feel up to 4.5 Gs. So let's say you weigh 150 pounds times 4.5. That's how heavy your body's going to feel under braking. And these guys wear 5 or 6 point seatbelt harnesses. They are huge. But imagine 4 Gs of force of your own body weight pressing up against the lap belt, the over-the-shoulder belts. Just basically you're holding on to nothing because you got the steering wheel in your hands, you got to drive through it, you got your feet doing stuff, and wherever the blood is rushing to the front of your face, you better be able to handle it and not pass out. It's pretty crazy for sure. And then, of course, the lateral Gs when they're going around corners can be anywhere from 2 to 4 or even 5 Gs. And a lot of these guys have headrests that actually hold their head up because your neck muscles would become way too stretched out and tired. You couldn't even hold your own skull up anymore. So there's a lot to it. In fact, these guys actually do head and neck weightlifting. It's pretty interesting what they're actually doing. Motor racing is highly competitive. As part of the definition of sport, the activity has to be competitive with either 2 or more individuals competing for the title, prize, or award. In all auto sports, including karting, NASCAR, Formula One, IndyCar, the competition is high. In fact, every year it seems to increase. And it does. These guys are going faster and faster. The margin of error is smaller and smaller. No longer can you just wait for one of your competitors to make a mistake and capitalize on it, because nowadays these guys hardly ever make mistakes. It is a big one for sure. Number 6, skills must be learned and practiced to perform as a driver. Yeah, we already know that. And they are currently slowing these cars down for safety. The way technology has gone the last 40, 50 years, if they didn't have requirements on exactly how much horsepower the motor can put out and sizes of the cars and the wings, I mean, you can't just race what you brung, which these guys would be doing freaking 500 miles an hour by these days. And, a lot of the times you might have heard, speed kills. Speed doesn't kill. It's the sudden stop that actually kills you. Number 7, to perform, racing drivers must be in optimal physical condition. Yeah, we already knew that. These race car drivers, they actually will compete in triathlons just for fun, because that's the kind of shape they need to be in all the time. And when they're not exercising, working out, strength training, all the above, they're actually practicing, a lot of guys, on sims these days, because it's so expensive to take the hauler, the big rig, the race cars, your team to a track, which race teams used to have to do that all the time to practice and practice and practice. They actually limit practice. It's the rules of the racing series you're in, all in effect to help save money for the teams, because traveling gets real expensive, especially when you have that much equipment and all those high-paid people that have to be there to figure out how to get this car to go as fast as it possibly can on a track. Number 8, auto racing requires coordination and strategic thinking. You're not just sitting there doing a Sunday pleasure drive, heading to the other side of town or going to the store. You are on top of it, and you are getting the most out of your equipment and even exceeding your equipment's capabilities. The good drivers are able to find where that line is and try to keep it just below that line. Drivers must make technical and critical decisions for hours on end. In terms of mental and physical exertion, the fact the drivers on the track must be thinking technically and critically for hours while under immense pressure in a high heat environment and with G-force added to the mix. It is obvious that drivers, in fact, athletes, and that the auto racing is a sport. Again, this article I found, they're still trying to prove that it's a sport. It's a sport. Number 10, auto racing requires mental and physical conditioning. I just covered that. These guys will do high eye-hand activities, juggling balls. They have one particular driver, they'll have these buttons on a wall inside of a gym, and they're hitting them when they light up as fast as they can, and they're timed by how many thousandths of a second it took them to react to that particular button lighting up, and there's like a dozen buttons in front of them. So they're very, very agile physically and mentally, and they have to be, because some of those decisions you're making are just tenth of a second can help you win or lose a race real quick. Number 11, motor racing drivers display agility. Sports require physical fitness, endurance, stamina, and agility. Most auto racing cars are built and tweaked around the abilities and the agility of the driver. The driver must consistently provide feedback so that the technical teams can work on the car. Without agility, the F1 driver's car would pale in comparison to the others on the track. F1 is the pinnacle, highest, most expensive motorsport on the planet. It's not for everybody, and it's really hard to get into. Their budgets are well over $100 million per car they have out there. Travel all over the world. We currently have 4 races in North America right now, and I can't afford to go to any of them. They're in Vegas in November, and they've done 2 races already. For those of you that don't know, they set up a track right down the Las Vegas Strip. Kind of a logistical nightmare for the people that work and live there for sure. But they did a great job. It looks really cool. And, of course, the first year was the worst. They actually had to build and resurface all these pavements and put in certain curbs and build walls and stuff. In the rest of the year, you wouldn't even notice that it's there. But it is pretty cool what they did. Makes that town a lot of money. Like, they needed more money already, right? Anyway, just wanted to share that with you. It is so technical and so much more money, more engineering than any other sport out there. And I've been a fan my whole entire life. And I just love it. Hope you do too. Maybe we can watch a race together. Come on over. I'll put on the big screen and I'll answer any of the questions you have going on. Hey, let's get to our moment of musical bliss. Remember, I said I play music. And I'm going to play a song that I know most of you have never heard, but I'm sure you're familiar with this group and you've probably heard some of their hits. I picked one of my top 100 favorite groups, Ambrosia. They had a lot of radio hits in the 70s and stuff. And they are actually, and the reason why I brought them up, they're actually playing in Carson City tonight, actually, at 7:30. There's a new place in Carson City I've never been to. It's called the Nashville Social Club. I've driven by it. I know where it's at. 1105 South Carson Street. They are like 2 or 3 blocks south of the state capitol there. And whoever's running this, I've seen the pictures online, their services. They got breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they are bringing some pretty good size acts to, they're calling it the Swan Music Hall. I've been in this building before 25 years ago. They must have done some real cool remodeling in there. And they got, not big acts, but, some pretty good sized, groups. There's a Eagles tribute band that's playing there. There's a Beatles tribute band playing there. Some guy called ZB Savoy, he's playing there next month. Either people that are rising stars or coming back down and just trying to tour where they can. I'd say go check it out. I plan on checking it out eventually. Sounds like a really cool place, and the menu looks really damn good too. Anyway, let's talk more about Ambrosia. The group was founded as a quartet with guitarist David Pack, who guitarist and made vocalist, Joe Perta, bassist, and then Christopher North was a keyboardist, drummer, Burley Drummond. That's a cool name. According to Joe Puenta, their original name was Ambergris Might, but after doing some touring, they discovered that there was already a band using the name Ambergris. So they turned to the dictionary and picked the name Ambrosia because of the name meaning nectar of the gods. That's what Ambrosia means. Ambrosia was reared in Southern California, South Bay, and later adopted San Pedro as their hometown. Ambrosia fused symphonic art rock with a slicky produced pop sound, resulting in a melodic prog style. You've probably heard the term lately, yacht rock. That's definitely yacht rock here for sure. The album was nominated for a Grammy, so this first album, self-titled Ambrosia, nominated for a Grammy for their first album, and the producer, the album was nominated for a Grammy, and Alan Parsons was the engineer for Ambrosia's first album and producer for their second. All four members of Ambrosia played on the first Alan Parsons Project album, Tales of Mystery and Imagination, which was recorded soon after Ambrosia's first album. By the way, that first album came out in 1973, so we're talking a long time ago. You might recognize Alan Parsons. He was part of the magic in the recording studio for the Beatles back in the day. And he's also put together a lot of really cool studio musicians over the years and have created some really good radio hits. It's been a long time since he's had a song on the radio, but hey, he's not a young man at all anymore. I was able to see Alan Parsons at the Nugget in Sparks here in the Celebrity Showroom back, I want to say 2007, 2008-ish or something like that. And it was really cool to see that high level of musicianship that he definitely surrounds himself with. Back to Ambrosia. The year 1978 marked their biggest pop breakthrough with their first gold single, How Much I Feel, from that album, which was the number 3 hit on the Billboard Top 100. That's their first hit that you probably recognize. It's How Much I Feel. In April of 1980, Warner Brothers released their album 180, which produced 2 of the year's biggest hits. The first was The Biggest Part of Me, reached number 3 for 3 weeks on the Billboard Top 100. The second, another blue-eyed soul hit, not sure why they call it that, You're the Only Woman, reached number 13 on the Billboard Top 100. I'm sure you've heard those songs played either on the radio or maybe in your house or maybe at a grocery store. I'm sure you've heard them. 1982, David C. Lewis briefly left the touring group to replace by Bruce Hornsby, 4 years before his own rise to stardom. Bruce Hornsby had a couple of hits. You might have heard those as well. Big influence with these guys, that's for sure. Ambrosia appeared on the May 2nd, 2011 episode of Late Night with Jimmy Fallon as part of the host's Yacht Rock 2011 theme show performing Biggest Part of Me. I never heard of the term yacht rock until about 2011 when that show came out. It was actually pretty good. I love these guys. This particular song that I'm going to play for you right now, it's called Holding On to Yesterday. Definitely one of those kind of a melodic prog type of song. Great musicianship, great singing. It is a love song or a love lost song, depending on how you want to look at it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed some of the things I shared with you. Again, email me, ericandreno@duck.com. Love to hear what your thoughts are, thinking about. If you want to come on the show, got something interesting to share or say, love to have you. So here we go. Let's get to what we came here for. You're listening to EVS Studios.